Hey SpaceWatchers, it's Chiara Monta here, event coordinator in our SpaceWatch.Global team. Beginning of April, I spent a week in Paris, the city of love, art and space. On a late Thursday afternoon, I found myself in a small cafe overlooking the bustling street, a cup of hot chocolate in my hand. Across from me, Ane Aanesland sat, the same beverage in her hands. Soft music played through the cafe, as you'll hear. Ane Aanesland is a Norwegian deep tech entrepreneur with deep roots in scientific research. She is the co-founder, president, and CEO of ThrustMe, an industrial space startup providing simple solutions to maneuver satellites in space. This is Space Café Radio, your channel about trends, cool people, and real conferences. Enjoy! Hi, it's very nice to sit here in a cafe and drink some hot chocolate with you. Very glad to have you here.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chiara. That's cool to be here on the podcast.
Maybe you can just give a brief introduction of yourself and also the work that you do.
Yeah, so I'm Ane Aanesland and I'm the co-founder and CEO of ThrustMe, which is a startup in the space propulsion domain. And we created it around 5 years ago in 2017. And we have developed the world's first electric propulsion system that is operating on iodine propellant. And it's quite a revolution for electric propulsion.
Just out of curiosity, where does the name ThrustMe come from?
So I had that idea. It's a name that I think is a typical name for a thruster company. So we couldn't choose anything else.
It's very fun. It definitely sticks out. Like, on conferences, when you see that name, it definitely stays in your mind.
Yeah, my brother-in-law is American, and I asked him, can I call the company ThrustMe? Can we do that? And he said, no. I said, yeah, but is it bad or is it only a little bit pink, this connotation? And he said, it's pink. Okay, then we have the name.
Yeah, well, I think it's very fun. It catches your attention.
True.
So we were just talking before about, for electric propulsion, you were saying that there's a lot of different backgrounds needed. And also on the website for ThrustMe, it also says that you're a very diverse team. Can you explain why that has to be?
Yeah, so electric propulsion is one of the hardest and most complicated systems on a satellite because it has a lot of technical elements to it. So you need to know plasma physics very well, acceleration mechanisms, creation of the plasma. You also need to know material science, electronics, embedded electronics, because now we are making not only the thruster but the complete propulsion solution. And for that you need all the different varieties from engineers to physicists and chemists to make it happen. And to do really breakthrough innovations and disruption, you also need to bring people in that is not reading the same textbooks and have the same teachers.
Yeah, to allow for new ideas to come.
Exactly.
So ThrustMe was one of the first working with electric propulsion.
We are not the first. It has been a dream in the community for over 60 years. So the first scientific papers that we read about is from the 60s, where they really show that iodine is the perfect propellant for electric propulsion. NASA has developed these technologies for many, many years, and the European Space Agency with different actors as well. We were the first that made it happen and did the first tests in space.
Okay, so it has been in the works for a long time, but now it seems like this step of actually developing it and making it happen, that has been quite quick.
It depends on the scale. So when we really started working on it, yes, then it's quick, because now we know better the material science than in the 60s. We have vacuum chambers that are more adapted to this material. So what you need to understand is that iodine is a perfect propellant when it's in space because it's a solid and it sublimates directly to gas. You don't go through the liquid phase when you heat it up. So you have a solid, it's like crystals, like salt, table salt almost. You apply a bit of heat and it transforms directly to gas. Mm-hmm. But iodine is a halogen, so it's also a corrosive material. This is why, for example, boats are rusting on the ocean, because you have iodine in the ocean together with the salt. other salts. So you need to understand the corrosion mechanisms and the sublimation, condensation mechanisms for treating iodine. So it's not in clogging and so on. And you need to control that, and therefore you need to go back to the basic principles of propulsion to see how can we use this new propellant in the most efficient way. That's what we did.
And on that note, where you say about like knowing how it works, preventing clogging, and seeing where that adds to propellant. If we draw the comparison between electric propulsion and chemical propulsion, what is the risk level for both? Are they still very much the same, or is there more risk on one or the other?
That's a good question. So let's take the chemical propulsion first for small satellites. The chemical propulsion has a very high force, so you need to control your satellite attitude control very well. If not, you risk to very quickly move into the wrong orbit. While with electric propulsion, it is much more fine, so you can adjust while you move. So in that respect, electric propulsion is safer, but you need to have a good solar panels on board to create your power. If not, it doesn't work. So that's another risk for electric propulsion. So both of them have risk, and both of them has added values.
Okay, that's very interesting to know. And on that note, what are the key trends or key developments that you see right now in the field of satellite propulsion?
Yeah, so in satellite propulsion, what we can see is that now we have really integrated solutions, a complete propulsion solution. In the past, the actors would buy a thruster, the power processing units, and all the things that goes with the propulsion solution separately, and they would do this integration themselves and the optimization themselves. And now we provide a full smart propulsion solution, and that's the new trend. And then on top of that, you need to get rid of the pressurized gases that was the previous propellant, because the handling on ground becomes too complex. Because when you fill up a pressurized system, it has explosion risk. So when you ship it, it's like you are shipping a bomb. So you need to make sure that everything is safe. While when you have a solid propellant like iodine, you get rid of that aspect. So it's much safer. And then the cost of it is also much cheaper. Iodine is 2% the cost of the classical propellant, which is xenon.
Okay, that's quite a difference.
Yeah.
I would like to dive into the topic of sustainability, because that's my passion.
Yeah.
So I was reading on your website where you also talk about that your propulsion would allow advanced maneuvers in space, limit debris creation, and thereby also assuring sustainable space environment. To what extent is sustainability really an integral part of your vision and mission for ThrustMe?
It's critical. It's one of the reasons why we created the company, because we realized that when the smaller satellites started being launched into orbit, and they didn't in the past use propulsion, I saw that it would be a long-term risk for the whole community. We have an exponential growth in the number of satellites that we launch. So we need to have good traffic management where we can actually move away for either other active satellites or passive dead objects that are out there. And we need to have this control individual on every satellite to be able to move in case of a collision, and then move away and down when we are finished operating the satellites. Another part of the sustainability for us is the economically sustainable situation. So today, satellite constellations are too costly, and with propulsion you can reduce the number of satellites and also improve the constellation deployment, so you generate revenues quicker and more efficiently with the constellation you have on board. And the third part of the sustainability aspect is the choice of the propellant. So xenon, that is used in the past, now SpaceX, for example, is using krypton. One of the reasons for going away from xenon is that the whole space industry's request for the propellant is outpacing the amount of xenon that can be produced on ground. And we have many other more important applications on ground where we use xenon. For example, efficient light for cars, anesthesia in hospitals, and many other more critical activities that we should keep both the krypton and the xenon for. And that's why iodine is the only sustainable solution. Other technologies now, which is, for example, indium liquid metal, but this is also a scarce resource on ground, and it's not adapted for constellations. So the best propellant is really iodine when we look at the sustainability aspect.
Yeah, that is very important to consider, because these resources are used elsewhere and limited. So what is in the stars for ThrustMe? What's next?
What's next? We have started our industrialization process, so we are quite excited about that. So we have just started renting a building next door to where we are, and we are setting up the production line, and we are preparing to deliver to many clients around the world. So yeah, it's an exciting time for ThrustMe. We will recruit a lot and we grow a lot.
Oh, that sounds really great. I'm super excited to follow that journey, to see how it goes. Final question, very big one, but what do you see for the future of space in terms of human presence in space? Where do you see that going?
Well, I think there is a huge ambition for more humans in space, and more than the ISS. We talk about lunar explorations, we talk about Mars. I hope that we still are alive when we are on Mars. When we see all the different tech development that we need to do to be able to have a human on Mars, well, we are getting there. It will take more time. We are not ready yet. If we send somebody to Mars today, it is a one-way ticket. And are we ready to do a one-way ticket? I don't think so. So we need more research and more tech development to be able to do it. But this will come for sure.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
This was the end of our episode, but please don't forget to check out our full program of Space Café Radio, where we offer interviews, insights, and editorial comments on the space sector. Thank you all very much for listening. And with that, I leave you for today. And don't forget, become a Space Watcher. Bye!